I was supposed to welcome Josphat Mwaura, who is the Chief Executive Officer of KPMG East Africa. Josphat, we're really glad to be your partner on this journey. I think it's been a wonderful journey for the last 6 years, and we have continued to grow from strength to strength. Karibu sana. Please, a round of applause for Josphat.
Thank you very much, Anne. When you remind us that you went through 844, it also reminds me how young I am. Good morning, everybody. I'm glad to see all of you here this morning. We actually changed the initial venue of this conference from Strathmore Business School to Safari Park because of the expression of interest we had from the participants who had indicated they really want to be in this conference. Now, on the way here, I checked. The only traffic I saw is going into town. So hopefully those of them who are going to come later will have a different excuse other than traffic for coming in late. Today, we are here to learn. To learn, first of all, what it takes to be a top 100 company, the criteria that we use to celebrate the people who are here, and to also begin to recognize you for the contribution that you have made in the Kenyan economy over the last year. We all know that it was not easy. I was supposed to have gone bald over the last year because of the number of times I was scratching my head, wondering when the challenges will cease. And when we went over the election successfully, I breathed a sigh of relief. And I could feel the positive energy that we had in the country, that we are now ready to work, and we can put behind us the negative sentiments around politics, and we can all focus on building our businesses. I want to appreciate you, because the reason you are here is that many of you did not allow yourselves to be distracted by the issues that we are facing over the last year. And I would like you to give yourselves a big hand for growing your businesses under those circumstances. The rest of the world believes that the average growth is not going to be any more than 3% in the coming year, that the world will only grow at about 2.9%. I have every confidence that with your contribution, with the proper policy environment, we can grow our economy at double that rate, if not more. And what we need to do as a country is to make sure that we are creating the enabling environment for people like yourselves who have put your money, who have put your time, who have put your knowledge on the line to make sure that you grow this economy. What we need to do is to make sure that nothing, absolutely nothing, detracts us from that focus, from that determination to grow the economy. Not corruption, not terrorism, not a non-performing public service. We must make sure that all of those issues are dealt with, and we create the environment that we need to grow the economy. When His Excellency the President was signing performance contracts with cabinet secretaries, some of his remarks at that event were music to my ears, because he said he is not going to tolerate non-performance in the public sector anymore. And I believe all of you were with me when you celebrate those words. But we would like to see those words translated from rhetoric, from a promise to performance. And we ensure that going forward, corruption, incompetence, mediocrity in the public sector is not something that you have to grapple with as you do business. And I invite you to use every opportunity available, every avenue available to hold the government to account, to ensure that the public service lives up to that promise. Because we know that it counts, we know that it matters for our business. I know, for example, this whole issue of corruption, we keep talking about it. And yet, all our lives, around our lives, corruption is preached against everything that we know. Our faith demands integrity. Our laws command integrity. Our families are bred on integrity. I don't think there's anybody amongst you who brings up your child telling them, I want you to be the most corrupt person in Kenya. Do you do that? The clubs that we join, the small groups that we are in, all demand integrity. But somehow this integrity becomes very elusive in society. And we are all pointing fingers at somebody else. My plea to all of you is to do what you can to make your personal contribution to engendering integrity in your place of work, in the area of control, the area where you have influence. Make sure that everybody and everybody you interact with observes the highest standards of integrity, especially in your dealings with the public sector. Let it not be said that a top 100 participant contributed to corruption in government, that they were said to be paying bribes to obtain business from government. And at this point, I would like to acknowledge a number of people. In 2010, we started a process of signing what we call integrity pacts. Members of top 100 who have made a personal determination as a leader of the business not to engage in corruption, to observe all the laws and comply with all the laws that set the highest standards of performance. The companies that have signed that integrity pact, if you are here, I would like to acknowledge you today. Manji Foods, Food Industries Limited. Is anybody here from Manji Food? PMS Group were our winners, I believe. Investec Capital Limited. Ultimate Engineering Limited. If you're here, just raise your hand up so that we acknowledge you, those companies. Alpha Medical Manufacturers Limited. Electrowatts Limited. Software Technologies Limited. Express Automation Limited. Nivers Limited, and Sheffield Steel Systems Limited. If any of you would also like to sign that integrity pact, I invite you to speak to Robert Onyango, who was here with our project manager on this initiative, and he will make the integrity pact available to you. This year we had about 245 participants, and we will be told how those participants were then brought down to the top 100 that we will be revealing tomorrow evening at the colorful dinner we are going to have at Carnival. Now, a number of those participants obviously did not meet the requirements, but I know this, especially as men, whenever you see an advert or a request which has 5 criteria, and you realize that you meet 2 of those criteria, you say, I can get this thing. I can do this thing, even though you meet only 2. Many of our ladies, when you see 5 requirements and you meet 4 of those requirements, you say to yourself, I don't have all the requirements, so I will not apply. That's a difference. Yeah? So men have what I call a can-do attitude, even when they can't, and we know, ladies, yeah? When some of those guys started approaching you when you were young. And ladies have what I call a questioning attitude. And those of you here, the ladies who are here, business leaders, some of you perhaps have overcome that questioning attitude, and you are saying to yourself, I can do it. And that's the reason you have become a successful business leader. So I would like to invite all the women leaders who are standing, who are here today, please stand up so that we acknowledge you. All the ladies in the room, please stand up. And the men, give your loudest applause to these ladies. Thank you very, very much. You are making a significant contribution in society, but we are not seeing that contribution in business yet. And those of you who are up there, we would like to challenge you to mentor others, to bring up as many women leaders as possible, so that we really have the capacity at the top, because we believe women bring that capacity. So stop telling those negative stories to yourselves. Please take up that challenge that yes, you can do. When you see some of us standing here, we are less qualified than you are. And if you rise up to your challenge, if you believe in yourself, you can achieve. So thank you very much for all the men who participated in the survey, even when you did not meet the criteria. The reason you are here is that can-do attitude has led you to be in this conference today. So if nothing else, at least you are participating in the learning. And that's what can-do attitude does. It helps you to achieve something. But going forward, we will encourage you to learn, to pick up the lessons that we are identifying from the survey and apply them, so that when you participate again next year, you actually qualify and you meet the requirements to be celebrated at the dinner tomorrow night. When I looked at the details of the survey this time, there are a number of things that came through. Many of you are focusing on revenue growth at the expense of everything else. Now, unless revenue growth translates to two things, profit and cash, then you should not be going for it. You must make sure that as you focus on growing your business, you have a very clear focus on the bottom line in terms of profit and on the bank account. Because if your suppliers are not giving you credit and all you're doing is growing your top line, and your debtors are taking 3 months, 6 months to pay you with the rates that we are being charged in the banks, you will keep going back into your pocket to pay for supplying that product or for serving that particular customer. So there are a number of people who might have had impressive revenue growth, but the other ratios did not stack up. So please do remember to focus on that. The other issue we also emphasize on is, please also remember investment. That when you have made money, if this business is working for you, do not invest in the Hummer or Range Rover, which is the top range one now. I don't know. Yeah. Please make sure you invest in the business. So we're also looking very closely at how the money flows back into the business. Because at the end of the day, I personally believe that we keep complaining about this developing nation status, but we have been given so many opportunities in this continent. And many of you are taking advantage of those opportunities to transform lives, and business is a critical area in achieving that transformation. The other area that I noted in the survey results is that many of you are also participating in corporate social responsibility activities, mainly around education and environment. Thank you very much for that contribution, for giving back. I keep using the examples of people like Bill Clinton, Warren Buffett, Bill Gates. These are people who went out to demonstrate the highest levels of performance in their vocations. But they have come back to realize that even when you achieve that level of performance, true fulfillment comes from giving back, from transforming lives elsewhere. And I thank those of you who are doing that and encourage you, especially in the area of education. It's an area that I am passionate about. When we went through Sterehe, Griffin told us, the late Dr. Griffin told us, in time to come, we should make our own contribution to helping other people to acquire the same education that we acquired at Sterehe. I am a trustee of an organization called Palm House Foundation, so I'm making a pitch here. We pay for 4 years of secondary education for students from around the country, from poor backgrounds, and we also mentor them through life. So if you can make a contribution through that, that is the way to achieve equality in this country. There is no use of bringing somebody from Turkana who is a class 8 dropout to make them the commissioner of police. I'm not suggesting the commissioner of police is from Turkana or that he's a class 8 dropout. It's just an example. Yeah? Because that doesn't help the country. But if you can get somebody from Turkana and educate them and take them to the highest institutions of learning in the world, that individual will come back to help us change Kenya. And I thank those of you who are making that contribution. So today we've got a number of presentations to share on the survey. The sponsors will also be here to offer some goodies to you. I invite you to listen keenly to them. Look out also for any cost in any of the things that we offer you, because as I said, focus on your bottom line, because ours is to make sure that we can celebrate you and that in time to come, we will be able to parade very many of you as international business leaders. And that is my dream for you, that is my hope for you, and I hope that you aspire to achieve the same. Thank you very much and have a pleasant day.